Welcome back to Double D Vintage Baseball Cards. My name is Dylan. If you've never watched my channel before, I have been a collector since I can remember. Since I can remember life itself. I have been collecting baseball cards. And maybe movie cards in 83. My life has revolved around collecting in one shape or form. I love collecting. My grandma had she had a huge collection of things. I'd go to her house as a kid and it was extraordinary. There'd be stacks and stacks, like 6 feet tall, of Barbie doll collections unopened. I'm a collector. That's what I do. That's what I love. That's one of my favorite things in my life that has given me joy. It's weird to say that pieces of cardboard and things that I collect can be that big in your life. But that's who I am. And where this video is in this series that I have that I'm starting is a rankings video of Topps designs. Now, I brought up the fact that I'm, who I am, if you've never watched my channel, because I want you guys to know that I'm taking you guys on a journey. I'm taking you guys on my collecting journey, in my baseball card collection journey, and where it has changed over the last 2 years since I've joined YouTube, and where I see it going in the future. And this is a good way for me to share the cards that I've picked up over the last couple of years and cards that I've had since, for 30 years. I just enjoy Topps designs and I enjoy collecting, and my collection is always ever changing. And my collection is like a piece of artwork, and that's what you see around you is how I collect cards, and my wife's collection of things that she had as a child that brings up memories and nostalgia, and I have the same thing going, and you'll see my wall here. So if you're new to my channel, this channel is about my experience as a collector. It's about where my collection is going in baseball card form and where it has been. And what you're going to see in this video is this is a rankings video. This is number 29 out of my 29 videos I'm going to complete before the end of the year on the greatest Topps designs from 1952 Topps all the way to 1980 Topps, which I consider prime time, the greatest sets ever produced, and Topps. I'm not going down the Bowman track. This is a Topps only, and this is to show you guys what I used to collect. I'm going to pop up pictures, scans of cards that I sold during this last 2 years transition, of taking my off-centered higher grades and selling them and buying lower grade, better eye appeal, centered, beautifully presented cards. And this is the video. This is what I want to share with you guys. I want to take you guys along this journey. So if you're new to my channel, that's what I'm into. I'm into Topps. I'm into finding the rarity in Topps is centered, good eye appeal cards. That's what I want to share, and I'm going to show you guys up close and personal my collection after I talk a little bit more about this. I'm going to take you guys into my number 29th pick from 1952 Topps all the way to 1980, and the designs that I chose, and I'm going to have 29 videos. And this is the 29th, I guess you would say it, or the first video with the 29th placed design, my least favorite design from 1952 all the way to 1980. And you might ask, why are you not including 1951 Topps? Well, 1951 Topps was a different size. all the cards are basically the exact, I mean, you can say that about all of them, same design, but they're literally 51. There's red and there's green, two kind of different sets. They're basically the same, just a different image. And they're different size. I wanted to compare Topps because I love Topps. I love all the designs of Topps. And they're all the same size, you know, once you get past 56. You know, they're relatively all the same size, even from the larger ones from 52 to 56, from 56 and beyond. You can still stack them all relatively good in your hand and as a kid. Like, I think that's where Bowman failed as a company. It wasn't, you know, two things they failed, but mainly I think reason that Bowman failed is because the sizes. They would change a size all the time. Every year they'd change a different size of the card. Topps came along and just said, this is the size that we want. Boom. And from 52 to 56, they kept the same size. And then they said, you know what? I think a little smaller. And then it went from 57 all the way to till present day is the standard size card. That's why I picked 52 to 1980 to rank. And that's where I want to show you guys what I think are the greatest designed Topps sets of all time. And my ranking system is based off of the base card design. As you see laying around, and I have the whole run up here. I'm going to show a video during this. I'm going to try and kind of go deep where you'll see all the Topps designs so you can kind of refresh your memory. And that's what these videos are going to be about. So if you're new to my channel, that's where I'm going with this. I'm taking you guys along the journey. I'm not trying to sell you guys on centered cards. I'm not trying to sell you guys on the cards I'm going to share with you. I'm not trying to say that the design that I picked as the 29th, basically the worst Topps design in that era that I said. I'm not trying to tell you guys it's the worst design. I'm trying to tell you guys that I think it's the worst design. And I'm sharing my progress in collecting and how it's morphed from off-centered cards to centered cards over the last 2 years. And I'm going to share examples of cards that I had sold in graded form and ones that I picked up in graded form. And you guys can see the difference between the two. And I'm going to share prices as I go along. Not every card, but a lot of cards, because I like to hear what a card costs. To me, a video, I do videos that I like to watch, and if I like to know what cards cost. And it's because you like to know what you can afford, right? Like, if I'm going to share a card with you guys and I remember what I paid for it at that moment, or it pops into my head, I'm going to tell you guys what I paid for it or what I think it's worth in this day and age, in this very moment. So if you like a card, you can go on eBay and you can get in your head, oh, this costs $40. Boom, I can go on there. Oh, this costs $200. Boom. At least you have some kind of mental picture of the pricing of the card. That's why I share the pricing of cards. It isn't toot the horn, I spent this much on a card. No. I will overpay on cards all the time. So I'll tell you guys what I pay, and I could have gotten hosed. Like, you could have got a card way cheaper in that grade, or even in the eye appeal. I share it because, to me, I want to watch videos where people share prices, because it gets your head spinning. It starts making you think, what can I afford? And whoa, oh, that card cost that. Without doing all the research behind it. So that's what this video is going to be about. It's not about pricing. It's going to be about Topps designs. And this is video number 29, but number 1 in the series. My 29th least favorite set of all time from Topps from 1952 to 1980 is the 1966 Topps design. I'm going to take you guys on a close-up view of my collection of the 1966 Topps cards that I have amassed and traded for and sold other ones for. I'm going to take a deep dive in. Welcome to the close-up of the 1966 Topps, the worst design Topps has ever made. Not ever, but from 1952 to 1980, in my opinion. And here's why. My first card here, card that I traded for, I have a few. These are from Greg's collection. He was the Yankees bat boy in 1971. I made a trade with him on YouTube way back. He's still around. I'm going to have him on my channel. But as you see, that design's just very simple. It's very plain. You know, you get the I love logos. I love facsimile autographs. This set is just a very simple design. Juan Marichal, really beautiful cards nonetheless, but they're just very simple designs. And that's why I put it in the last place. But let's look at some cards that I just love. I've got a stack here. I love every single card you're going to see here. Some of them are perfectly centered. Actually, you know what? 66 Topps. I don't know if I have a perfectly centered one because they are ridiculously impossible, but I have some really, really epic ones. And let's just start off with, this Joe Morgan. Rookie Cup card, second year card of Joe Morgan. Out frickin' standing. I guess it's the rookie hat card since YouTube. It's not perfectly centered, but it's a really pretty card, and I did buy this year. My eye has been getting better and better and more picky and more picky. When you just really pick up this card, it looks perfectly centered. Look at it on the wall. I love the backs of these 66. You get a cartoon there, you know, like a comic book strip. You get your stats. Beautiful, beautiful backs of 66 Topps. You know, the front's just to be desired. I think it's the doppelganger would be 61 Topps. But when I look at this Joe Morgan card, it's one of the best cards from 1966, no doubt. I'd probably put this number 2 behind the number 3 behind the one I'm going to share in the end. But nonetheless, this copy right here fits my collection. It's not going anywhere. It's beautiful. Could I got a better center one? Yeah. It's probably about a 78 to an 82 in my centering criteria. But for a 66, this is really nice. So, beautiful Joe Morgan. Put you up on a stand, my friend. Yeah, we'll get these 66 rocking around. I want you guys to see these cards displayed together. Another reason I love doing these close-up videos. Next one here, I'm just grabbing them as they come. This one is a Willie Mays 66 Topps in a PSA 3. This is not the most attractive card in the world as far as the one that I chose as an eye appeal. This is in the beginning of me, like, just going for centering, not looking too much at everything else. Either way, I would rather have this way over a way off-centered 6 or 5 or any off-centered. But it's to be desired. You know, it's not the perfect copy, but it's staying in my collection. It's well-centered. Not perfectly centered. Definitely not perfectly centered. For some reason, I have a lot of 66s because I sold a lot of 66s. And you're going to see ones that I sold when I get to the cards that I had them in that I sold. Does that make sense? I have 2 Willie Mayses. One's on eBay right now, actually, or I sold it. I can't remember. But it's beautiful nonetheless. Will I find a better copy and replace this? Yes. Am I looking for it? No. When it comes to me, it will be replaced. But well-centered, beautiful image. Images to me are a dime a dozen. Most images on Topps are very good looking. There's a couple cards that come all the time blurry, but most cards, everyone says, like, you only collect centering. No. Image is always number 1, period, but I won't buy a card that has a good image and not centered. Centering is my make or break. But image has to be there. But images aren't that hard to find. You can find a good image in a 1, 2, 3, all the way to 10. Images look the same. I understand that everyone's like, oh, the image is most important. Yeah, of course. That kind of goes without saying. But when you look at these cards from a foot away, or it doesn't matter. The image is there. Images aren't rare. Centering is rare. Images are good on 50% or more of the copies. Centering is not. So for a Willie Mays in a 66, that has good eye appeal. But when you look up really up close, those corners need some help and things. But let's look at this card. This card right here is more of what I'm looking for now, and it's not perfectly centered, but for a 66 Topps card, it passes my test. And in hand, 4.5, this looks as good as any 7s and 8s I have seen. This is the Hank Aaron. Is it Hank Aaron's most desirable card? Absolutely not. But it's really nice. Look at the back right here. The king, the home run king before he was the home run king. He's got a king's hat on. Hank led the NL with .355 batting average in 1959. I mean, this card itself is spectacular for a 4.5. And let's do some pricing. That Willie Mays, you're talking like $75. Joe Morgan, you're talking less than $100. This card right here, probably in the 125 range to, anywhere from 90 to 125. Spectacular looking copy. As sharp as any 7s and 8s I've seen. Centering, very good. I would say this is about an 86. PSA would give this a 9 if the corners were perfect. I find that my centering scale, I can go as low as like 86 to 84 on my centering scale versus PSA 9s. Even 10s are in the 80s on PSA. So when I look at this copy, this is my forever copy. Done. I don't have to look for another one of those. I'm not looking for another Joe Morgan. I'm not going to buy another Joe Morgan. I'm not going to buy another Hank Aaron copy. Those are my forever copies. That's kind of the whole point of this whole thing. Willie Mays, I would like to find another one. I'd like to find a little sharper edges. You got a little nick right there. A little sharper corners, I guess you would say. Because, yeah, I still like corners, but they don't need to, like, cut my face. They just need to look like corners. They need to look square on some of these standard Topps cards to look like a 7 and 8 and 9 and 10. That's what I want them to look like. So let's continue on because I'm excited to show you guys a lot of these. I got combo cards coming up. This one, old card I've had in my collection for a long, long time. Combo cards are some of my favorite all-time cards. And right here you have a SGC 8. Probably today, maybe $125 for this card. I'm guessing. I don't remember what I paid for this at the time. Wasn't $125, but this card is absolutely gorgeous for a 66. As good as centering as I need on a 66. Is it perfect? No. It's in the 86 range, I would say. I probably gave this an 88. But it is beautiful. In the back on these leaders cards, it tells you who had what home runs in 1965, and it goes down the list. What's not to love about these? We've got 2 Hall of Famers on here. 3 Hall of Famers. 3 Hall of Famers. Billy Williams, Willie McCovey, Willie Mays. I mean, dude, come on. Seriously? Is this not better than a single-playered card? Is it not better? I've always thought when you had 2 of your favorite players on one card, it was better than having one by himself. And this is 3 incredible players. 2 of my favorites. Billy Williams being the man out, but beautiful. And Billy Williams, unbelievable player. Hall of Famer. So we'll toss him in. We're going to put this guy right here. Right there. You know what? I love playing with my baseball cards. I love setting them up like this for the shot. It's so cool. All right. Let me show you guys. Yeah, I'll show you guys this one. Now, I have one that I sold. Ernie Banks 66 I had it in a 6 form SGC. It was very nice, and I had both of them. I didn't want to sell either, but I sold the SGC 6 because I could get more money for it than this one. And I think I had bought that. I think I had it raw and got it graded. I remember exactly. But this one, I'm talking, you're probably getting this one for like $45 today. You're patient, maybe not in this eye appeal, but in this grade, you're talking like $25 in a 4. In this grade with the eye appeal, yeah, probably $45, something like that. It's probably what I spent on this. But it's spectacular, right? It looks like a 7 and an 8. That's what it looks like. And that's where my collection is headed. Beautiful backlight, whatever that is. I don't know what that guy is. Ernie is the first on all-time club home run list. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you look at this card, looks glorious. Ernie Banks, all of Ernie Banks' cards look good. But really, like, look at these cards from... The camera is probably about 11 inches away. And when I have displays set up, well, you guys have seen my displays, you're talking, I look at the cards from about the same distance. And when you're looking at a 3, I mean, I get it. But I'm trying to show you guys up close, too, to show you guys that 4s look like 7s as well, up close. But when you get a foot away, even the Willie Mays looks spectacular. Centering on these guys. Look at those. Look at the centering. 66 normally looks like this. This is what an everyday 66 Topps card looks like. Curt Flood. I mean, nothing wrong with collecting these cards, but I don't want to display this on my wall. It's not going on my wall, on my graded wall anyways. It's not going in my collection long term, and I don't think there's value. It's not going to grow in value, minus if the whole, Curt Flood grows in value, or 66 Topps, or the hobby grows in value. But where I see value is in the centered Topps cards, because they are literally, I don't know what's more rare, scarce or rare. I don't know, Mangini is going to have to let me know. Is scarce more rare or is rare more rare? What's the wording for it? But centered 66 are very hard to come by. Let me put it in those terms. In any grade, 9s are off-centered. 9s, PSA 9s have tilts to them that I can't stand. Not all of them, but some of them. Worse than 4s and 5s that I'm finding. And 3s and 2s. And they just look better than this off-centered copy. Like when you look at these from a foot away, I'm looking at the cards. I'm looking at all the cards on these. This one I'm looking at what is wrong with it. The centering, it just pops out to me. So my collection is going in this form. And it's just fun for me to share you guys, share with you guys. Whether it's ridiculous and I'm crazy or I'm onto something. And where I've been taught. It's not like me, I've discovered this great formula and center cards are the holy grail in there. No, but I'm not late to the party, I'll tell you that. I'm early to the party as far as last year, as far as centering pricing goes. I wasn't paying any more for a lot of these centered cards. Now you're paying a little more, but I still feel like I'm way ahead of the game. Years and years before we realized that centered Topps cards are rare, scarce, whatever. They're hard to find in any way, shape, or form. And we're going to continue on. Keep sharing some of these really fun cards. This guy right here, this Don Sutton. Easiest card to find centered, not one that is hard. There's cards within sets, like 66. Every set has cards that are not hard to find centered. And this is one of them. Don Sutton rookie card. I had this ungraded. I had this graded. Bought it raw years back. And felt the time was, in the last year I got this graded. Time was, it's worth paying the money to get graded. It wasn't worth for years and years. And now it's worth it. But if you want a centered card from 66 Topps, go for the Don Sutton. It's very easy to find. This was probably in the very center of the printing sheet, so it had the least amount of movement when it got printed, least amount of movement when it got cut. so I had the best odds of becoming a centered copy. This card right here, probably get this for like $65. One that looks just like this. It's like, that's me off the top of the dome. But you know what? I guarantee you I'm not going to guarantee you, but I bet you I'm within $10. Beautiful card. Let me get into one that's really, really, really hard to find centered, since I'll go the opposite spectrum. But first, I'll show you this. I love collecting cards on cards, and this is my 75 Topps Mini, and this has the 1966 Topps MVPs. You got Frank Robinson, which I don't have that card yet because I haven't found it centered, and the Roberto Clemente, Bob Clemente, 66 MVP. Now that card is really hard to find perfectly centered or well centered or as centered at all in the least. I will show you guys one in the corner. I'll show you both side by side in a scan. My 4 that I bought, that I purchased, in looks like a 7, any 7 I've seen, any 6. It's a really beautiful, beautiful copy all the way around. Is it perfectly centered? No. Has a slight tilt to it. It's not perfect, but I think I probably gave this score about an 86 or 87. 92 and above to me is pretty much perfect to the naked eye when you first see it. I'm very particular. A lot of people will share a card and say, this is well centered, and I'll look at it and be like, it's not even close in the realm of centering in my mind, and it's fine. It doesn't make me not want to watch the video or be like, no. Centering is something that you learn, and you realize what a really nicely centered copy looks like. And you're gonna see one that I sold, a PSA 6. I'll pop them side by side at this moment. And the 6 I sold for like $260. In the heat of the moment, in the heat of the market, I should say. Top dollar. I was selling all this stuff when the high grades were like on fire. And then I was, hunting for these random low grades. And this one was probably like $80 or whatever. In that range, you could buy it for probably $80 to $120. In this eye appeal, this grade, the one I sold it for $260, PSA 6. This one looks night and day better. All the above. I feel like even the corners, everything about it, the image, it's spectacular. So, this 66 card, one of the hardest ones you'll find. One of the hardest ones to find centered. Okay, so if you're looking for 66 centered, the Hank Aaron, I would say, and the Clemente are the 2 hardest ones that I've found out of the big boys to find centered. Those are the 2 hardest ones I think you're gonna come across. So I'm glad that's what my collection is, just trying to go for the rarity in Topps. There is rarity in Topps. It's finding centered copies with good images. They're combo. It's not hard to find good images. It's hard to find centered. So when you find both on one card, I buy it. Whatever the grade, I'm blind to it. Even if that was a 7, I had to pay $400 for it, or $700, and I found it centered, I would go for it, and I will go for it. I don't care about the grade. I'm not going to spend $800 on that card, but I would spend probably $400 to $500 on a Clemente or a Hank Aaron or a Willie Mays if it had to be in a 7, and that's what I found in the moment. But they're not easy to find in any way, shape, or form. My only criteria is not a PSA 8 or above, and even those are way off-centered. So next one's a Lou Brock 66. Not my best pickup, but one of my earliest pickups once I started going on the centering track. It's probably my least centered out of the 66 graded cards I have. Image is nice. The card's sick. This is probably an $18 card, and I probably spent that on this. Probably around $20. Delivered, everything. All said and done. So, cool card, but not perfectly centered. One that I would like to replace at some point. But it fits in my collection. I'm proud to have that on my wall. It will go on the wall at some point and taking the place of another 66. I am down to, I got like 5 more. Whitey Ford 1966 tops. Everyone who loves Whitey Ford has to have the 66 tops because it just looks like a Yankees card. I'm not sure why to me, but it's one of those cards that I put this in a Double D vintage graded box on Justin Levine's channel. He turned this into a box, and I think Picker Jim pulled this. I had this in a PSA 7, and I put it in that box. And he has my PSA 7 copy, which I'll pop up in the corner or side by side. And, you know, this one looks better than my PSA 7. PSA 7 is probably $80 to $100. This is a $20 card. $25 shipped all day long. And this centered copy is much harder to come by. Much more attractive, in my opinion, than the one you guys are going to see. You'll see them both side by side. You be the judge. This is my collection. You guys do as you like. But Jim, thank you for buying the box, and I'm glad you have it. And this is one of the first ones I wanted to replace. I was just like, oh my gosh, I couldn't believe I put that in the box. 66 tops leaders, RBI leaders, 65 RBI leaders. You guys know I love these cards. This is in a 7. Have this card forever. It's not perfectly centered, but I'm not selling this. This is staying in my collection until I find one that's perfectly centered. Some cards just will stay in it because they're spectacular copies. Looks like a pack fresh. The corners look marvelous. The centering is good enough where I'm not going to lose my mind. And it's like, I look at the card. It's beautiful. It's an awesome card. So that one's staying for the time. When I find one that's perfectly centered, and you know, I'll pick it up, no doubt. 4 more guys, and then we get down to the best. I got a Richie Allen in my ungraded collection. I just wanted to share a couple in my ungraded collection. One of my favorite combo cards in 66, Willie Stargell, Don Clendenon. Beautiful, beautiful card. Love it. Buck Belters. Stacking them. You know what? No, I'm going to leave these ones looking like that just because it just looks good. Put those right there on the ground. The best league leaders card maybe of all time, maybe the 62 might beat this, but the 65 batting leaders with Clemente, Hank Aaron, Willie Mays. This and that Clemente, the hardest 2 cards to find in 1966 tops centered of great cards, of Hall of Famers, the 2 hardest cards, period, to find centered in all of Topps baseball cards. Clemente, for some reason, has like the hardest cards ever to find centered. Maybe because he was always on the corner, in the bottom corners. I'm not sure. But this card in particular, I urge you to find a centered copy of this. I haven't found one yet graded. I have it on my watch list. But this one is very nice looking. A lot better than a PSA 5 that I'll probably pop up in the corner here that I sold. This one looks way better all the way around. So I will put that right there because it deserves a place. Favorite card of all time from 1966 Topps in my collection. And this happens to be one that I've had for 20 years at least. And that is the Sandy Koufax, his last card. And it's not perfectly centered, but it has a slight diamond cut. It's a PSA 6, but it's not leaving my collection. And I'm not looking for another one. I won't buy another one if I see one. This is a beautiful copy. And I think it's the best image on any 1966 Topps cards. I think the only one that would even compete is the Clemente, because Clemente always looks good. But, and so does Koufax. All of Koufax's cards are really nice, but this one in particular, and being his last card, oh my gosh, I love it. So there you go, guys. This is what I want to do, and this is where we're at. Number 25, my least favorite Topps design from 1952 to 1980 is the 1966 Topps. Still love it, but it's my least favorite. With that said, guys, that's where I'm headed. I can't wait till my next episode and I divulge my 28th pick. Hope you guys love seeing my collection and where it's come from and where it's going. And it's enjoyable for me to share it with you guys. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening. Until next time, be inspired. Don't be influenced. Be inspired. Shaka. Oh yeah, and in the comments, tell me your 29th, number 29. Give me your opinion on it. Okay, later guys and girls.